All right, so let's take a look at question 6 from 3.2 when we start talking about measures of variation. Listed below are pulse rates from samples of adult males and females. Does there appear to be a difference? Find the coefficient of variation for each of the two samples, then compare the variation. So, one of the things that's cool about statistics and interesting is you look at a problem like this, you can ask yourself questions like, all right, would we think that pulse rates are different between males and females? Would they have different variations? So these types of questions that you can ask in statistics and then use the data to try to figure it out. So the coefficient of variation is a way to standardize the the amount of dispersion, right? So if the coefficient of variation for males is greater than the coefficient of variation for females, then that means that there's greater dispersion in the male data set than there is in the female data set, which is actually kind of what I would suspect. The coefficient of variation is the ratio of the standard deviation to the mean. All right, so how do we solve the problem? Well, we export this to StatCrunch. All right, and here we have the data set for males and the data set for females. So what we're going to do is we'll go to stat and then summary stats and then columns. We actually would like to have both columns. So I'm going to click male, hold down shift, and then click female. That will get both columns over. And all I'm interested in for this particular problem is the coefficient of variation. So I'll select that, then I'll hit compute. All right, so for males, the coefficient of variation, I'm not sure how many decimal places we want. So it's a percentage, okay? So it's a percentage to 1 decimal place. All right, so for males, it would be 19.8%. And for females, it would be 10.3. So let's go ahead and put those numbers in, 19.8. And then I think it said 10.3, 10.3. All right, so the coefficients of variation for each data set are, well, they're more than 5 percentage points apart. Therefore, the male pulse rates vary significantly more than the female pulse rates. And that's kind of like what we suspected before the problem. That concludes this lesson.